The entire luxury restaurant fell silent when billionaire businessman Adrian Wolf deliberately switched to a foreign language while placing his order. His wealthy guest smirked, convinced the young waitress standing beside the table wouldn't understand a single word. Then Adrian added another sentence in the same language, quietly mocking her and suggesting she would embarrass herself trying to respond. Several people chuckled under their breath, waiting for the inevitable humiliation. But the waitress, Sophia Bennett, calmly finished writing the order, looked up with complete confidence, and answered him fluently in the very same language. The laughter stopped instantly. Glasses froze halfway to people's lips. Adrian's smile vanished. Then Sophia gently translated every word he had just said, right there in front of everyone. The restaurant became so quiet that the sound of a single fork hitting the floor echoed across the room. For the first time in years, the billionaire who had always controlled every conversation found himself completely speechless. Sophia Bennett had never imagined she would be working evening shifts at the prestigious Imperial Crown restaurant. Years earlier, she had earned a degree in international relations and spent time studying abroad, where she became fluent in several languages. But after her father suffered a serious illness, Sophia put her career dreams on hold to care for her family. Waiting tables allowed her to pay medical bills while staying close to home. She never complained. To Sophia, every customer deserved kindness, regardless of how they treated her. One Friday evening, the restaurant hosted an exclusive dinner attended by investors, celebrities, and business leaders. Among them was Adrian Wolf. As the billionaire founder of a global investment firm, Adrian was known for his brilliant mind, immense wealth, and intimidating confidence. He was also known for testing people. When Sophia approached his table with a warm smile, Adrian glanced at his colleagues and suddenly began speaking in flawless French. He ordered an elaborate meal, then, believing Sophia couldn't understand, made a sarcastic remark about her experience and suggested she would probably bring the wrong dishes. A few guests exchanged amused looks. One even laughed quietly. Sophia remained perfectly calm. She wrote down every detail. When Adrian finished, she smiled politely and replied in equally fluent French. "Thank you, sir. I'll make sure your order is prepared exactly as requested." She paused for a moment before adding, still in French. "And kindness is remembered much longer than clever insults." The smiles around the table disappeared. Several guests suddenly realized Sophia had understood every word. Then, switching back to English, she said gently, "For everyone's comfort, I'll simply say that I believe every guest deserves respect, and every worker does too." There was no anger in her voice. Only quiet dignity. Adrian stared at her in stunned silence. For the first time in years, someone had answered his arrogance with grace instead of embarrassment or hostility. As Sophia walked away, one of Adrian's longtime business partners leaned toward him. "You know," he said quietly, "that's the most professional response I've ever seen." Throughout dinner, Adrian couldn't stop thinking about what had happened. He watched Sophia move from table to table, treating every guest with patience and genuine warmth, whether they ordered expensive wine or a simple bowl of soup. She gave everyone the same respect. Curious, Adrian asked the restaurant manager about her. He learned that Sophia had turned down higher-paying opportunities because she was caring for her father while saving money to return to graduate school. She had never asked anyone for special treatment. The next evening, Adrian returned alone. When Sophia greeted him, he stood before she could speak. "I owe you an apology." The restaurant fell unusually quiet. "I thought speaking another language would make me seem clever," Adrian admitted. "Instead, it revealed my own lack of character." Sophia accepted the apology with a warm smile. We all have moments we'd like to do differently. They talked for nearly an hour after her shift ended. For the first time in years, Adrian wasn't discussing business deals or investment strategies. He was listening. Over the following months, he quietly funded a scholarship program for hospitality workers pursuing higher education, insisting it remain anonymous. When Sophia eventually discovered who had created it, she thanked him, but reminded him that the greatest gift hadn't been the scholarship. It was choosing to become a better person. Years later, Adrian often shared the story during leadership conferences. People expected him to speak about billion-dollar negotiations. Instead, he described the evening a waitress answered his pride with dignity. I thought intelligence was knowing many languages, he would tell audiences. That night, I learned that true wisdom is knowing how to speak to people with respect. And every time he finished the story, the room rose in applause, not because a billionaire had been humbled, but because one courageous waitress proved that grace, humility, and kindness can silence even the loudest arrogance. Sometimes the most powerful words are not the ones spoken in a foreign language. They're the ones spoken with respect that everyone, in every language, can understand.